And you're welcome to your most authoritative show on the Pulse. You just heard the General Secretary of the NPP debunking some claims made by former President John Mahama that the administration of the NPP has become a thorn in the flesh of Ghanaians, and also talking about our economy deteriorating. But John Boydu says the NPP has rather improved upon our economy. We have a reporter station there. He'll be telling us more on this one. But of course, the NPP also says John Mahama's attempts to paint himself as a better manager of Ghana's economy will be fiercely resisted and exposed. A group affiliated to the NDC on Monday held a forum on the country's economy, at which former President John Mahama was there, and also described the NPP of handling our economy poorly. But according to General Secretary of the NPP, John Boydu, President Mahama and his then Finance Minister Seth Terkper's poor record at the helm of affairs is public knowledge.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Former Finance Minister Seth Terkper presented data he argued shows the NDC administration handed the NPP government a healthy economy.
Also had a package. I won't go through all of them. You remember GIFMIS, you remember revenue modernization, you remember the tax laws, you remember we set up a GRA, we merged IRS and the VAT service, where I used to be deputy commissioner, together to form the domestic tax division, and we were on course. We did single window, if you remember, which is digitalization, right? And then we were on course to do the domestic attend to, so that we could strengthen. And in fact, from the beginning, despite all the difficulties that we had, our total revenue and tax revenue in 2015 remains unmatched, the levels, in terms of GDP.
The 2020 NDC flag bearer said government had changed the state of the economy into an unhealthy one.
Indeed, you remember that at a time when the new government had just taken over, a year or two after, when things, they were still enjoying the largesse that we had left them, one of the leading members of the government said that their reserves had grown so big that if any external shock affected Ghana, Ghana would be able to go 3 months without seeking any external assistance. I don't know how many of you remember that statement. When COVID hit, it didn't take 2 weeks for the Ghanaian economy to go on its knees. But for the IMF intervention, this economy would have collapsed completely.
He insisted this cannot be attributed to COVID-19.
This government must accept that it is their mismanagement of the economy, their thirst for consumption expenditure, and the desire to spend beyond their means in order to win elections that have plunged us into the current crisis, not necessarily COVID-19. COVID-19 has exacerbated it, and as COVID normally does, it takes advantage of underlying pre-existing conditions. And so COVID-19 has become the convenient whipping boy and has been cited as the reason for the crisis we face now and the attendant economic hardship.
Called for pragmatic steps rather than what he says is sloganeering to deal with the state of affairs. Professor of Finance Lord Mensah, who was chairman for the program, said there's a disconnect between economic indicators and the state of affairs.
You could see there's kind of a missing link between the various economic indicators that are being churned out from the strong room of economic management and then what is happening on the grounds. Because if you mention that interest rate is coming down, GDP is growing, for economics we call something lead indicators. And for GDP to grow, I expect that businesses will start spending.
The NDC's Professionals Forum, organizers of the event, intend to hold similar lectures to address various issues of national concern.
So that is what has triggered the response from the NPP's quarters. And you heard the General Secretary. My colleague, Kwekwa Sante, is there. He'll be telling us more. But the NPP says John Mahamed's attempts to paint himself as a better manager of Ghana's economy will be fiercely resisted and exposed. And of course, this is a response to what happened on Monday, which triggered the forum that spoke about the economy. John Mahama lambasted government. He described the administration as poor handlers of the economy and using COVID-19 as an excuse. But according to the General Secretary of the NPP, John Boydu, President Mahama, and his then Finance Minister said Sekpe's poor record at the helm of affairs is a public knowledge. My colleague, Kwekwa Sante, was there for us. He'll be telling us more about this conference as we get Kwekwa Sante to join us with more from the NPP headquarters. The Attorney General's office is preparing for committal proceedings against 3 people standing trial in the matter of social activist Ibrahim Mohammed Enijura. The proceedings are to prepare grounds for full trial of the accused persons at a higher court. A duplicate docket has been forwarded to the AG's office by the police prosecution team. Isaka Ibrahim, also known as Anyas, and Hussein Al-Hassan, both known MPP polling station executives, and Idi Mohammed, a brother of the late social activist, are accused of murdering Kaka Mecho. My colleague Ohime Teria, who was in court, has more in the following. He joins us via Zoom. Ohime, all right, so Ohime will join us shortly, but this is what transpired in court.
Lead prosecutor Chief Superintendent Kofi Blagoji told the court prosecution is counting on the AG to begin committal proceedings after the office acknowledged receipt of a duplicate court docket. Counsel for the third accused person, Mohammed Idi, had earlier told the court his client had taken ill and had to be arranged to seek medical care at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. Nonetheless, he satisfied his client was allowed medical care. But what does committal proceedings mean to the speedy trial of the case? Chief Superintendent Kofi Blagoji throws light on the proceedings.
We confirmed to the court that the docket is gone to the AG's office. And then counsel from the other side of the accused persons also confirmed that he even followed to the AG's office. They said the police has given the docket to the AG, and then the AG are preparing to come to court to do the commuters. You know, it's not the police who do the commuters, it's the AG. So the AG will be in court. So the court agenda matter to 23rd. So the falsehood outside there that the police are not doing anything about the matter is wrong. Yes, it has been established by even counsel of the accused persons. And then he raised an issue that some of the accused were not too well. But he again indicated he followed out, the police took them to the hospital and they were taken care of. So this is the matter. The A3, but from the council, he followed out, the police took him to Komfanochi and it's well catered for. We just do the work and hand it over to the AG. So they will come at the next agenda.
But what exactly was wrong with Mohammed Idi, brother of the late Ibrahim Mohammed, also known as Kaka Mecho? Nephew Mohammed is a brother.
She was having a fever and he is also vomiting. So actually he cannot be detained with such conditions. So we directed our brother to come and see those in charge so that he will be sent to hospital. That was done and he was sent to hospital. He was detained. Actually, he was detained at the hospital from the morning and he was discharged around 5:30 p.m. Actually, he was sick, but God willing, he is responding to treatment.
Meanwhile, the family of Isaka Ibrahim, also known as Enyas, says they trust police to thoroughly investigate the case. Enyas's brother, Bala Isaka, is hopeful his brother will walk free when the full trial begins.
The process
Mrano be mrabedano inshallah wallahi de be bompaye say anukure bedadi say enyan kola no entra man tie nka anya se nifu say ayi alasa man tie o family aka bibia first time na me kasa no inshallah say etwen the court be because e anukure na da ho police for about just be interviews on adie na ho.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiminteria reporting.
Ohiminteria now joins us via phone for more on this one. Ohimin, what more can you tell us for this case?
Yes, Aisha, today's proceedings in court is an indication that indeed police have made progress in investigating the death of the late media activist Ibrahim Mohammed, also known as Kaka Mecho. Once the docket has been sent to the Attorney General's office, and the police are waiting to the extent that we've gotten to the stage where committal proceedings could begin, then it's an indication that the case could move from lower court, that is the Asofar District Court, to a more higher court, say the High Court, for a full trial to begin. So for the parties involved, for instance, the family of the late Ibrahim Mohammed and the family of the two other accused persons standing trial in the case, they have indicated that yes, they are content and they are happy with how far the process has gone, how far the process has traveled. So what it is that they have no reasons to believe that they have been cheated somewhere along the line, or the process has not worked to completion. So for them, they are happy with how far, for instance, the police stations have gone, how far the judiciary has also handled the issue. So they are happy so far.
I mean, do we know when this committal proceedings begins?
From the information I take from the prosecutor and then the court, the indication is that when the case is recalled or the court convenes on September 23rd, that is when the AG is likely to do the committal procedures. But the information I take from the court also is that it's a bit cumbersome process. The committal procedures, it will not happen just once. It's also another procedure that requires so much attention, so much time, and then so much work to be done by the judiciary, and then the police prosecution team, plus their legal counsel. So it will not happen on a day. It's a process that is likely to begin on September 23rd, but as to when it will end, I can't really predict.
Ohiminteria is our man following this case for us. Our lenses are widely opened in Nigeria, in the Ashanti region, to monitor and bring you updates as and when it happens. Let's come back to Accra and talk about COVID-19. Today on Frontline, we discuss a medical doctor at one of the isolation centers in Accra who has been assaulted by 3 COVID-19 patients. According to police, the 3, Jibril Abimbola, age 23, a photographer, Ahmed Akimbi, age 25, and a musician, and a Ramsey Omwefe, age 24, a designer, assaulted the medical officer without provocation. Police investigations indicate that doctor, while on his daily routine checks on patients on the COVID-19 center, disclosed to the 3 suspects who had also been quarantined that their COVID-19 status was positive. One of the 3 suspects, Jibril Abimbola, who was incensed by the revelation, began vilifying the medical officer. Let's get more on this one because Dr. N.S. York, who is a consultant physician and chairman of the Greater Accra Division of the Ghana Medical Association, joins us. Doc, I'm grateful for your time. Let me start with the condition of the doctor now.
Thank you, Aisha, for having me on the show, and good afternoon to your listeners. I can, report that as we speak, the affected doctor is healthy now and back to work. Luckily, he had to seek medical attention, and after going through for a couple of days, he's well and back to work. So I can report that it's okay now.
What can you tell us as far as this assault is concerned? What do you know?
Yeah, I think the fact is as you narrated. So these were people who had arrived by air, and routinely they are screened, and some of them, you get tested positive, and you are undergo mandatory quarantine or isolation for a couple of days, and then you are retested. If you become negative, you are released to go. So it is on one of these rounds that the doctor broke the unfortunate news to them. But I don't know what triggered it. But they were happy to hear the negative news. I'm sure they were thinking negative for them to be released, and that is understandable. But they got incensed and attacked him physically. Somebody restrained him, wanting the other person, to come and attack him again. But luckily, he was able to free himself and run to the police. And fortunately, the people were accosted, and the rest is history. So, but we take exception to that, and this thing should not be allowed to continue. Day in, day out, we hear stories of doctors and health workers being attacked left, right, center, during the line of duty. And it's like a policeman, if they are trying to, ensure peace, and you attack the policeman who is on duty, and we've had it. The same thing should happen to persons who attack doctors and health professionals whilst they are on duty. We are happy somehow that justice was swiftly, done. However, we thought that they could have done, gone a bit further than what was done. Beyond the fines, we think that, they could probably have asked the people to offer a public apology and admit publicly that what they did was not good, so that it serves as a deterrent for somebody else who may be planning similar things in the future, so that doctors would work knowing that nobody will attack them whilst they are doing their lawful duties.
I'm happy that you mentioned that this is not the first time it's happening, because day in, day out, you hear people reporting about this. But what engagement have you had with the Ghana Health Service, for instance, the Ministry of Health? I mean, all those that matter, to take steps in ensuring these things do not happen to the doctors?
Well, we have had initial discussions with both the Ghana Health Service and the ministry. And, some of these things lie solely in the purview of the law enforcement agency. What the employer can do is to provide a congenial atmosphere for you to work in and deliver your best. But when it transcends that and it goes into issues of security and personal safety, beyond what the hospital or the ministry or the Ghana Health Service can provide, at the least, when it comes to enforcement, it's the police. And I think they were up to their duties, but we were thinking that in consultation with the courts, they would have gone further, so that harsher punishment would have unleashed onto these miscreants. I call them miscreants, so that it will serve as a deterrent for persons who may want to do the same in the future. The doctor is already, stressed from the effect of the pandemic, having not to sleep for several because we are working extra hours, to lack of motivation and all. And then if somebody knows that if I work under these circumstances, I may be attacked further and physically on that point, not just verbal. I think they are quite, not sure what is awaiting them. So this thing should never happen again.
Are there internal mechanisms, at places of work to check this? Because, these cases can really dampen the morale of the frontline workers.
And you couldn't have said it any better. Yes, it really dampens the morale of the health workers. But at the regular hospitals and clinics, I dare say that the hospital have their own internal security, which, are deployed to take care of some of these things. But remember where this still happens. It's M Plaza, it's a hotel. So they may not have the regular security you may have at the regular hospital. I know that there's some patrol there, But these things can also happen within a twinkle of an eye, and this is exactly what happened. So we would urge the ministry and the Ghana Health Service to increase securities at these treatment centers so that such incidents, even if they will happen, will be nipped in the bud. And I will also call on my colleagues and all health professionals at this stage to exercise restraints, even in the phase of provocation, so that even when they are provoked, either verbally or physically, they are able to hold themselves. This is a calling that we all have been called to serve under, and that, we should be protected. So those who ought to protect us must protect us. And I assure you that this is a setback. The doctors and the health workers are still ready to serve. We are just saying that it should not happen again. And when it happens, severe punishments should be meted out to the miscreants. I therefore.
I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Ernest York is chairman of the Greater Accra Division of the Ghana Medical Association. We're still live on The Pulse. You can also join the conversation. Tweet at us at the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at the Nana Aisha. We'll take a break. When we return, there is more. Do stay tuned in.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Let's now talk about an essential part of our life. It's health. Today is World Epidemiology Day, and for the first time, epidemiologists in Ghana are holding a month-long celebration with the hashtag World Epidemiology Day. The day is a global movement to recognize and raise awareness on the vital role of field epidemiologists in protecting the health of people and advancing global health security, and to advocate for increased investment in that field, training, research, and professionals. The past year has brought unprecedented visibility to the work of field epidemiologists as the world has fought COVID-19, but this visibility has not always resulted in understanding the importance of field epidemiology, nor in the increased support needed to strengthen public health systems around the globe to better detect and respond to outbreaks. Now, don't worry if any of these sounds technical to you. We're joined by experts to tell us why epidemiology should be important to you. And joining me to do that is Dr. Ameme Done, is epidemiologist, African Field Epidemiology Network Ghana. Dr. John Tenge is president of Field Epidemiologists Association of Ghana. Now, let me start with Dr. Tenge. The whole idea about this is to get the public to appreciate the importance of the work you do. I want you to share with us why epidemiology is important, starting from Dr. Tenge.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and all your listeners. Epidemiology is basically the science of detecting diseases, determining disease determinants and the risk factors. Then after doing this, you gather your data, you interpret it, and then you compare and make decisions. So basically, field epidemiology is the epidemiologists who basically work on the field to help with disease outbreak surveillance and even training of other disease surveillance officers to help combat diseases. And it's not only epidemic-prone diseases. Epidemiologists looks at any disease entity that has an effect on the human race. So basically, that's what we do as epidemiologists. Thank you.
How much of importance, should we attach to this epidemiology? When we talk about health, Dr. Done.
So, could you kindly take that again?
Hello.
Could you kindly take that again?
I'm just finding out, if you look at the hierarchy in our health system, how much of importance should we place on epidemiology?
Okay, so that's clear. So I think that answer is quite obvious. looking at the situation in which we are, particularly with regards to COVID-19, everybody keeps mentioning the word epidemiologist, epidemiologist. Some even go to the extent of mentioning some of the activities that epidemiologists are engaged in. But this kind of visibility we identify has not translated into the understanding of who the epidemiologists. We can all attest to the fact that epidemiologists are very, very important when it comes to health security, not only in Ghana, globally. So in terms of the scheme of things, I think epidemiologists are very important, not only to be in the health sector, but also their function cuts across the health sector to even business, because the current COVID-19 affects not only those in the health sector, but it affects everybody, including businesses. So we think that field epidemiologists are very, very important.
So especially as we are presented with COVID-19, I think there's no better time to discuss the key success stories of this field and also talk about challenges. What are some of the key success stories you can share in this field?
Okay, so to look at the success stories, I think I'll first of all want to talk about the food epidemiology in Ghana. So food epidemiology is Ghana is driven by epidemiology and laboratory training program, which is a collaborative program between the Ghana Health Service, the Veterinary Services Department, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And then this collaboration trains food epidemiologists in on-the-job training and a competency-based training program. So this program has a majority of is in the field work. So over the years, we've trained over 170 frontline health workers in all the 3 tiers of field epidemiology training. That is the advanced training, the middle training that we call the intermediate training, and also the lowest training we call the frontline training. We are currently in the process of training all 3 tiers of field epidemiologists. With regard to COVID-19, before even COVID-19 was detected in Ghana, we have trained a lot of field epidemiologists in preparedness for any eventuality that may occur. We didn't know that we were going to be faced with COVID-19, but we knew for sure that there were going to be outbreaks. So we had this preparation ahead of time. We've also, when COVID-19 actually was detected in Ghana, we've been involved in training of health workers with regards to how to conduct contact tracing. We've also implemented contact tracing at the district level by supporting the districts, the region, and also at the national level. We've also been involved in taking samples from the field and testing them at the laboratory. Our products have also been involved in the laboratory work itself and management. So with regards to all the aspects of COVID-19, I think that field epidemiologists have been involved. And this I've described is not only pertaining to Ghana, but it cuts across the whole world.
Dr. Tenge, I saw that you were nodding when Dr. Done was saying, definitely there are also challenges. For you, what have been the success story? What have been the challenges? Where do we strike a balance?
Okay, so to add to what Dr. Done said, right from day one of our COVID, we were called upon to actually go into the community where there was evidence of community transmission. It was most of the field epidemiologists who were sent to the epicenters, the districts, to be as field epidemiologists to help with the district directors and the disease control officers. So we were leading the effort during the lockdown, gathering data, collecting all the GPS mapping for the government to make decisions whether indeed even the lockdown has to be extended or not. So we have been involved in this field for a long time, and so COVID came that, as Dr. Donner said, our relevance has really been now on the lips of many Ghanaians talking about field epidemiologists or epidemiologists. And not only this, we have also been involved with most outbreak investigations in Ghana. Over 100 outbreak investigations, our members have been part of it in the field, in the districts, regional levels, and even international levels. Some of us have been called even to assist in other regions, like even like the Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone. Some of our members were sent over to assist with them. But the challenges that we face is the government has been helping us so much. yes, with support, with members from the Ghana Health Service, giving them the support to come for the training and going back. But the other challenge that we have is placement. When we complete school, some of them go back and still go to do the same old things. So the major problem with the alumni or the members when they come back is placement. Even though most of our members have been placed working with programs, with the health institutions and other programs, but we're still saying that some of the members, when they come out, placement becomes an issue. So that's one of our major challenges that we are facing with it. And also when it comes to funding, to do most of our research, we have a lot of research proposals that we are writing and then we do the training. So these are some of the places that we really want to do more to help with our health sectors in Ghana. But the funding should be more and more attention to be placed on the field epidemiologists.
Okay, so I'm happy you talked about funding because I think there's a gap that we all have come to learn about. How do you think that we can cross this bridge, Dr. Donay?
I think that just to mention that with regards to the challenges that Dr. Tenge has mentioned, these are challenges that are mirroring the reasons for celebration of World Food Epidemiology Day. So the call to action is for the world to be able to know the role that field epidemiologists play in protecting the lives of populations globally. And that also pertains to Ghana. We are also calling for investment, increased investment in the training of field epidemiologists, recognizing that they are very important as far as our health sector is concerned, and also for the economy at large. So we want investment in the training of field epidemiologists. We are also calling for investment in research because field epidemiologists only solve problems. We only go to the field to go and solve problems. But to be able to solve these problems, we need the research to be able to get the evidence from the research to solve the problems. So we also call for investment in research. We are also calling for investment in the field epidemiology professionals also. We want investment in the professionals, like just as has been mentioned earlier on, investment in when the field epidemiologists are trained, how are they placed to be able to function effectively? Do they have the tools to be able to work with? We want investment in the surveillance architecture to accommodate field epidemiologists wherever they are. So these steps that I've mentioned are the reasons that cut across all field epidemiology training programs globally, and for which reason the World Food Epidemiology Day is being celebrated.
Dr. Tenge, you want to add on to the list of things that Dr. Donay has said?
Yes, basically, we also need support from Ghana Health Service, especially when you go to the district directors and other stakeholders, because sometimes after your training, when you go back, they still want to put you where you were before you went. And then some funny things, somebody went back and somebody asked him, what were you doing before you went for this program? And I've been doing this for this many years, so you can't go and do this program, come and lord it over me. So it's not a matter of competition, it's a matter of backing ourselves to help with the health system. So
it's teamwork.
We want to plead with people that we work with in other stakeholders to just accept us as we have been trained to do field work as epidemiologists, and not that we are going to take over their work or anything.
But of course, I'm happy you talked about funding. And I know that government has committed some funding into epidemic preparedness and response, especially now that we have COVID-19 and the others. How significant has this been over the years? Dr. Donay, you can handle that for me.
So, so that's, I can say that government has supported in field epidemiology training, as we have alluded to earlier. because food epidemiologists that are trained in Ghana are mostly people who are already in service.
Okay.
So they are either in the Ghana Health Service or Veterinary Services or Food and Drugs Authority or the Environmental Health Services. We try to use the approach of One Health. So all of them are already in services and they are released to be trained in the program whilst they are getting their full benefits, the full benefits of their salary. So they are all on steady leave pay. That is quite a huge contribution. So there's what is actually lacking that we think can be done is if there is a dedicated budget line for food epidemiology training, because we have all agreed that building capacity for outbreaks is the first step. Some of the outbreaks we can prevent, but outbreaks are always will always occur. They are inevitable, and for which reason we need to be prepared before they occur. So the training is a very important component that we think that if there's a dedicated budget line for food epidemiology training, that can suffice. But this problem is not really peculiar to Ghana.
Okay.
It happens all over the world. And in recent times, even the CDC, the US CDC, and the global body for food epidemiology training has appealed to US Congress to increase funding for food epidemiology. So it's not a situation that is peculiar to Ghana. There is something that is being done, but a lot can be done.
So what's your take, and this one I want Dr. Tsenge to handle this for me, on the National Action Plan on Health Security and government's commitment to funding its implementation?
I think with the National Action Plan for Health Security, I think Ghana government have done a lot on that, and that it has really gone far. And then they are really committed in seeing it coming to pass and committed to it being implemented. I mean, part of it has been implemented, and even recently they did an evaluation of the ones that are already being implemented. And they also saw some gaps in it, and it goes back to the funding issue. But if we are all committed to it and then support government with this effort to see this implementation of this action plan for health security, it's going to be a very good thing for us because it encompasses everything, including outbreak investigations. We all know how this COVID has hit her so much, and then almost every country that COVID has been in has affected their economy. So it's very important to look at this action plan, because when it's really implemented to its fullest, it's really going to help us so that we prepare all aspects of our health system, whether it be preventive or curative, and all ever ready to fight other outbreak investigations.
Would you advocate for an annual national budget line for, epidemic preparedness and response, or maybe a national public health emergency fund? Dr. Donay.
Well, okay, so I think that we can look at it this way. We have to look at the pros and cons of these two approaches that you've described. For an emergency fund, we have to look at how are we going to activate this funding. Are we going to restrict this funding to only when an emergency occurs? But from the discussions that we've had so far, we realize that emergency preparedness and response starts actually from preparedness. So if there's going to be a fund that we can only activate when there is an emergency, then it means that we may be shooting ourselves in the foot. On the other hand, if you look at the dedicated budget lines, that may suffice. For example, if outbreaks don't occur, we can be able to use funding to be able to train and prepare for the outbreak to occur. So these are the ways we look at it. You can also look at the funding, the creation of the fund in terms of the fact that it will be able to engage a lot more people in terms of getting resources pulled into the funding. So to me, if I should take a stand, I would think that we have to take a hybrid of both the fund and also creating budget lines, so that the budget lines can be used as and when we want to prepare and also respond. And then the funding, we get mechanisms in place to be able to activate them and use them for emergency response.
Of course, as a country, there's the need that we prepare for such epidemics, and then also for response. What would you recommend as steps government should take to actually prepare in terms of outbreaks when they occur?
Okay, so we've mentioned some already. Government is already doing a lot. We are training field epidemiologists, which is one of the key aspects. We are also providing the tools that the field epidemiologists need at the various levels. We have trained at national, regional, and the lower levels. There's also the need for us to, for us, I think this question is not only about government, it's about what can we all do. Yeah. Because in terms of responding to field public health emergencies, this transcends beyond only the confines of what government can do. What can you do? What can I do? What can the public do? We need to also call on corporate Ghana. Corporate Ghana should be able to realize the importance of field epidemiologists so that we do not only overburden the traditional sources of funding of field epidemiologists, but we move beyond these traditional sources, get into corporate Ghana, because when epidemics occur, it can affect businesses as well. So everybody should recognize, the general public should recognize that when they are able to follow protocols that have been put in place, then we are able to curtail or stop or control emergencies. And all this will be able to help us as a nation to be able to control or effectively respond to public health emergencies. So I think the call to action is for all of us, general public, journalists, the medics, and also government as well.
On this day, as we celebrate World Epidemiology, do you have a specific request on this day, Dr. Tenge?
Well, for this day, we really want the media to help us to really make awareness, create awareness of the things that we do as field epidemiologists. So we'll be coming to the media to have such interviews like this, and some of our programs that we have lined up for this month is actually taking place from now till the end of September, like radio interviews, like health screening. So we need this support. I know the media is doing a lot when it comes to this pandemic period about the protocols and all that. So we need the maximum support for our program this month so that we all can be hands on deck so that we go over this pandemic and then all of us will have our lives back.
I want to thank you this afternoon, Dr. Meme Done, epidemiologist, African Field Epidemiology Network Ghana. Dr. John Tenge is president of Field Epidemiologists Association of Ghana. I'm grateful, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. Let's get onto our dashboard and get updates of our COVID situation. New cases are going up, now 430. If you look at active cases, there are almost 7,000, and confirmed cases 121,737. The recoveries are at 113,957. Deaths have crossed the 1,000 mark, plus 79, 1,079. And of course, Greater Accra is still in the lead, followed by Ashanti region. You can see all the red inks. The red inks in the maps keep increasing. So now we have 7 regions that are hotspots, and we need to check that. And as a means of gaining and maintaining public trust in COVID-19 vaccines and vaccination, the Nananom of the Techiman Traditional Council have promised to lead the sensitization campaigns, which aims at building public confidence at this time. They call on the people to accept the new vaccines in order to help curb the increasing number of cases recorded in the municipality. Correspondent Anna Sabit engaged some of the chiefs during a vaccination exercise conducted by the Regional Health Directorate in Techiman. Has come through this report.
With the Techiman municipality contributing to about 40% of the cumulative COVID-19 cases recorded in the Bono East region, there was mad rush here at the Omanhene's Palace for both the AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. The people here, mainly traditional authorities, are excited at the opportunity and promises to be ambassadors for the exercise. Nana Ekwia Sewa Bonso is the Manhima chairman of the Techiman Traditional Council.
I'm really
excited that we are here today at the Omanhene's Palace taking our jabs of the COVID-19 vaccine. I've taken both the first and second jabs without any effect, and from today, any opportunity I'll get, I'll sensitize the people on the need to accept the vaccines. For the Kentenhene and Dabenhene of the Techiman Traditional Council, Nana Osu and Chibosiakun, the council's decision to take the jabs will serve as a modeling for the people in the society.
When something like this happens, we have to lead as an example within the society, and that is what we are showcasing today. We are urging everyone, or pushing that anywhere you get opportunity in taking the vaccine, you do it, and it will help you, it will help the kingdom. That's why all the Traditional Council members are trooping in to take the vaccine, just to tell our people, our natives, our indigenous people who live with us, to also do same. It's very important and it's very necessary.
Bono East Regional Minister Mr. Kwesi Edujan expressed satisfaction with the public interest and says that it is a good sign in the fight against COVID.
I think there is an overwhelming interest in the vaccination. You quite remember that a couple of weeks ago we met and we declared, REXEC declared this virus as a threat to security of the Bono East region. And as such, we're going to embark on whatever that is necessary for us to reduce the acceleration of the virus, which seemed to have been the case for the previous weeks or months. So this is a sign of the enthusiasm that the people have. So we're going to enforce it more and more to make sure that we attain the target that we have set, to be where we were before we became a hub for the COVID-19.
Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Admako-Boatin, called on the people to report any untoward side effects to the nearest health facility after taking the jabs for immediate attention.
We have made arrangements for people to report any untoward symptoms, signs, or feelings they will get after getting the vaccines. We need people to report. All the sites that we are giving the vaccines also, we have made medicines available for emergencies. If people have emergencies and therefore they need to be attended to, all these measures have been put in place. So I'll use this platform to tell people that any kind of way untoward signs, on uneasiness that they feel, that they think is related to the vaccine, the only thing they can do is report.
Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
We're still live on The Pulse. Remember to join the conversation via all our social media handles and also tweet at us at the hashtag The Pulse. We'll take a break. We are back with more.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to the Pulse. Let's have a conversation about the incident that happened in Kumasi, because parents of a final student of Upon Memorial Senior High School at Kokofo want police to swiftly bring the killers of their son to book. 19-year-old visual arts student Richard Appiah was stabbed in the lower abdomen by some youth of Kokofo following a confrontation with the deceased and his friends Saturday night. Mother of the deceased, Florence Boahema, wants police to speed up investigations to bring relief to the family. Her appeal comes as police hunt for the suspected gang that were involved in stabbing the gentleman. Oheming Terrier of our security desk has more in the following report.
The final year student, in the company of 4 others, sneaked out of campus on Saturday to the Kokofo town. Police say the attack on the deceased and his friends, who are noted for sneaking out of campus, was premised on an earlier incident. Bekwai District Police Commander DSP Damte Brown tells JoyNews the latest incident was triggered by the opposing youth seizing an iPhone of one of the friends of the deceased.
A student called Richard Appiah. He has some friends in the school, and they used to sneak to town every evening. And they had an encounter with some youths in the town some time back. Meanwhile, that case was not reported to the police. So when they came to town, one of his mates was with an iPhone. So those guys they have been having an encounter with met them in town, and then one of them went to the other guy, and then took his phone from him. So that Richard Appiah became angry, and then went straight to the guy, wanted to collect the phone from him. The guy broke a bottle, and then stabbed him with a bottle. There he fell unconscious, and was right to Ahmadiyya Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. We are doing everything possible to get them arrested. I have informed some informants to assist us to get the culprit.
Sympathizers, including school teachers of the late Richard, have been visiting the Ejimon family house to mourn with the family.
Yay, Richard! Hey!
Richard's father, Kwabena Appiah, is a security officer at the school. He always checks on his son anytime he's on duty. He was off duty on Saturday night when Richard, his third child, sneaked out of the school. He is devastated.
Na sabize bimpedi asese ya putu sekeni pa adabufo school mo adabufo yi na kofa wo nyina batumi so mi ya nkasa kofi wa me.
Meanwhile, his wife Florence Boahema is calling for swift police investigations into the matter.
Baja police for dem was so mo de boy ni say I was so mo hwehwe nkola ne maye baby bia wo mo hye bia. From
Kokofu, for JoyNews, Oheming Terrier reporting.
The Jache Pranso SHS Japan student who was allegedly assaulted by the school's headmaster is traumatized as she fears the situation may affect her output in the ongoing West Africa Senior School Certificate examination. A glaring video of cane marks at the back of Mary showing how she was subjected to assault has been trending on social media, a situation a section of Ghanaians has described as unfortunate. The final year student, a victim of corporal punishment, explains she feels sharp pains in her spine, which makes sitting almost impossible. This means it will be difficult for her to sit for the subsequent papers of the WASI. The Japan's headmaster, identified as Mr. Donko, who has been accused of assaulting the student, is yet to give his version of the story at the time this report was filed. JoyNews is learning that Ashanti Regional Education Directorate is meeting on the matter. We also learned that the headmaster will be interdicted later. We'll be bringing you an update on that story. But the National Road Safety Authority is demanding urgent government action on the use of tricycles, popularly known as pragia, for commercial transport. The authority says close to 40% of deaths recorded through accidents this year are attributed to motorcycles and tricycles, popularly referred to as pragia and aboboya. Although Ghanaian laws frown on the use of tricycles for commercial purposes, they are used nationwide commercially. Director in charge of planning and programming at the National Road Safety Authority, David Osafo-Adonting, says the deaths from tricycle accidents are rising at an alarming rate. We'll hear from him shortly. But first, listen to the story of a young single mother with her own struggles in life, but with very high hopes of a bright future where she would be a fulfilled school teacher. One road accident is all it took for all those hopes to be lost and replaced with suicidal thoughts. This is the story of Mercy Mbugri, a 22-year-old woman who lost a 5-month-old baby and her left leg amputated after a ghastly accident in Bolga in the Upper East region. For our Drive Safe campaign, correspondent Albert Sori tells us more of Mercy's story.
I couldn't even eat. I cried the whole day.
Tears as Mercy Mbugri recounts her ordeal after losing her 5-month-old daughter and her own leg in a road accident. She is only 22 and still has her whole life ahead of her. But life suddenly seems like a horrible nightmare she wishes she could just put an end to.
I'm on pain too much. They should keep praying for me.
Mercy graduated from the senior high school in 2019 and had a baby a year later. She was assisting her aunt, who operates a restaurant and with whom she has lived since she was a child. Mercy says life has not always been easy, but she was hardworking and hoped to further her education in the Teachers Training College. One fateful afternoon in February this year, she boarded one of these commercial tricycles, popularly called Mahama Kandu, in Bolgatanga. She was going to the market with her daughter, but they never got to their destination. A car crashed with their tricycle, and when Mercy opened her eyes, she was in the hospital. Her baby was nowhere to be found, and doctors came with the news that her left leg was going to be amputated.
So I decided to ask my aunt what happened. And she told me that we had an accident. So I asked her, where is my baby? She was telling me different story. I don't even understand what she was trying to tell me. She couldn't tell me where the baby was. Meanwhile, the baby died at the spot. And the doctor even said that they've already damaged the leg, so they have to amputate it. They were asking of 6,000 Ghana cedis before they can amputate the leg. So I asked my mom whether they can afford that money for them to do it for me. She told me that the little they have, they will give it out so that they will do it for me and I'll be free.
Within a short period of time, all the good plans for her life had suffered a major setback, and all she now sees ahead of her is a life of hopelessness and despair.
So that was last 2 weeks. We went back to Boku for review. When we went, the doctor said we should go for an x-ray. We did the x-ray and came. The doctor said there is a fracture inside the bone, so they have to do second operation again. In fact, that day, I couldn't even eat. I cried the whole day. I couldn't sleep. I'm on pains too much for about 7 months now.
Mercy is not married to her late daughter's father, who lives in the south. She says although the man tries to support her from time to time, he also complains that things are not going so well for him. Therefore, the financial burdens are solely on Mercy's aunt, Asana.
I'm a caterer, so I sell food, so we do small. So when it happened, I went back and locked the place to take care of her. So far at the hospital we spend a lot, about almost 7,000 to 8,000 at the hospital. We spend a lot. Yes. And Monday she told me something I was not happy. She said that, Mom, that if this leg does not heal, she will give her life out. She will give up. She will give her life to God. Then I said, no, don't give up. We are all here praying for you, be with you. If we don't love you, we will all not be here.
Mercy is now hopeful that she can get back to her life if she could get some help.
Please, I want them to help me join my colleagues in school. And I think if I get a prosthetic, it will help me join my colleagues in school and for me to afford some drugs.
For now, 22-year-old Mercy Mbuguri can only pray, remain hopeful, and face each day of her life with patience and endurance. Albert Sorry, JoyNews, Olga Tanga.
A really sad one there, but we can now hear from Director in charge of Planning and Programming at the National Road Safety Authority, David Osafo-Adontain. He called on government to adopt a tougher stance on the menace.
Go to all general hospitals now, Kolebu, Kompanochi, 37, Tema General Hospital, Tamale General Hospital. You can find them there. They're lying there. Most of them, legs amputated, arms amputated, head injuries, and so on. And the Ghana Medical Association have already come out and declared it as a menace.
Right.
Because the number of them that they are working on surgery all the time, it requires that we take a strong policy step to address it.
Right.
We at the National Road Safety Authority, well, we have raised the red flag that is an area we must look at. And moving forward, we must take a very strong position. The best we are doing for now is that we are doing the education. Our friends from DVLA are coming up with training of motorcycles as part of the process to license them. And so that is what we're doing for now. But I think in the near future, there must be a policy position where we draw the line between those who are using for private and those who are using for commercial.
Well, the Joy Research team has been digging into the deaths related to motorcycle accidents. And here we are. The motorcycle crashes in 2021, August only, stands at 488. That's the number of motorcycles involved in road accidents. And in August only also, the number of injuries we've gotten from motorcycles is 400. And that's the number right there. If you look at August again, you look at persons who have died through motorcycle accidents. It stands at 93 in just 1 month. This is the reason we at JoyNews are advocating that you drive safely and arrive alive. Now, CEOs of state-owned enterprises could risk removal from office if they breach a proposed governance code. This is geared at improving efficiency and cutting down on years of losses, which has been concerned to government over the years. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta in July this year revealed that SOEs had recorded a net loss of about 586 million by the end of 2019, and this was an event to assess performance. Now, the Interest and Governance Authority on Tuesday held a stakeholders engagement on a draft code seeking to change the trend. There's more in the following report.
Interest and Governance Authority Stephen Asamabuatin first expressed concerns regarding low attendance by CEO of state-owned enterprises.
Those who have not been with us today, although they were invited, I'm sort of disappointed because this is such a crucial document that will impact on your entities and your lives as a CEO, as a board member, as a board chair. Invitations went out. My team has been calling. And here we are, about just a third or half. I know some of you are joining us virtually. I don't know the number, but I will do the count later on. My concern is that I've been around for so long in Ghana politics and in the economy so much that one of the things that we fail to acknowledge is time management and the discipline of work.
He advised those who do not want to do their job to step aside.
If we've been entrusted to do a job, just put your brains to it, put your attention to it, put your commitment to it, and do it. If you cannot do it, ask permission and leave. Leave the scene. Somebody is prepared to do the job. It's a very important document we are discussing today.
Minister of Public Enterprises Joseph Kujo explained how the proposed code could make SOEs efficient.
When we develop it and it's adopted, it becomes an implied agreement between the boards and the management teams to exact themselves up to a certain higher level of performance. And the benefit is to all of us. When it's not performing, when state enterprises are not performing, the dire consequences are that they are not able to expand, to deliver employment. They are not able to expand to support government. They are not able to grow, to create wealth. So this tool, we all have interest in it to make sure that it becomes powerful enough. And to make it powerful, I tell all of us that it is the state and everybody participating at this moment should come with a view, should participate with a viewpoint of a shareholder and an investor.
Consultants for the code, Ishmael Yamson and Associates, also shared some perspective on how this will change things.
So when you become a CEO, when you become a DG, when you become a board chairman, it's not the post, it's not the position, it's the responsibility of delivering value. Delivering value. And most of the things that we have not been able to do in the public sector boils down to one thing: bad governance.
The State Interest and Governance Authority will hold other engagements as it prepares to have the Code of Governance come into force.
The 1991 batch of the Bishop Herman College in Kpando has presented 53 desktop computers, 15 laptops, a projector, a screen, and some uninterruptible power supply units to their alma mater. The move is geared towards equipping the Information Communication Technology Department to enhance the teaching of the course to equip the students with the requisite requirements for the current job market. There's more in this report.
Over 2,200 students are currently receiving their second cycle education at the Bishop Herman College in Kpando in the Volta region. About 550 of the students are studying elective ICT. However, there is not enough ICT equipment for the training of the students. The ICT department had only 23 computers available for use by the students. The in charge of the school's ICT department, Kavege Vinyo Peter, explained the situation had been challenging.
With the elective ICT, let's say first year, like currently Form 3 is 165. Second year is around 200 and something, and then the first years are also in the 200 but so what we have to do is that we have to run shifts. Some teachers will have to volunteer to come and teach the practical aspect mainly in the night during their prep or dawn. Or some we look at it, we have to reschedule the calendar so that we teach some theories in the classroom, then we rerun our timetable internally apart from the school main timetable. Then we will move those who are to come into the lab to come to the lab. For the core, we didn't even allow them to come into the lab at all. We have to teach everything in the classroom, and you can understand teaching SL in the classroom, what kind of impact we are making on that child. But we do our best. Sometimes we look at the schedule, and weekends a teacher bring a whole class to the lab, and then they run those machines. They work with those machines.
Nonetheless, the Bishop Herman Old Boys 1991 and 93-year groups came to the rescue of the school. They equipped the ICT lab with 53 desktop computers, 15 laptops, a projector, a screen, and some uninterruptible power supply units. Komla Wugbe Ofori is the project coordinator.
In the light of the studies, the ICT studies, the examinations they do now that requires the practical use of computers and laptops, and that is why we took that opportunity. There are more challenging problems on campus. There are physical infrastructure problems about their roads, about their buildings, but we thought that working on a more pressing one was they could still study within the environment they are, and they needed to catch up with the world's trends as far as ICT was concerned. Our target was to bring 100 computers, but having done the 53 desktops and 15 laptops so far, we are still working on the rest, and we hope that as the donations trickle in, we'll quickly procure them and deliver them in good time.
Mr. Kavege lauded the gesture, indicating the ICT department is now well stocked with the requisite equipment for studies.
And with today's presentation, we are a bit relieved in terms of the resources. With this help also, we believe that we can revive our robotic club that has gone down for some years now. And you know, IT has become the order of the day. If a parent comes to Bishop Herman College now, you ask the parent that for your son to do the elective ICT, you are required to buy a laptop. You see the nature of the Ghanaian understanding. And therefore, when support do not come in the nature that 91, 93 have done, you will see that we can't move forward. And like I said earlier, it is based on this gesture that this year's WASI is going to run smoothly for us.
Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Bandu.
And back in the studio in Accra, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. We take a break and allow for sports with Nathaniel Ato, the man who has love for sports.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Well, thanks for staying with us here on Pulse. My name is Nathaniel Ato, and it's time for a big dose of sport. Now, head coach of the Black Stars, C.K. Akuno, has come under great pressure after Ghana lost to South Africa by 1-0 in the 2022 World Cup qualifier last night. Now, Ghana has surrendered the top spot in Group G to the Bafana Bafana. Now, there are many questions about whether or not C.K. Akuno should remain at post, or whether the Ghana FA should wait until the end of his contract. Now, ex-Ghana international Yao Preku, who is also C.K. Akuno's playing mate in the Black Stars team, has been explaining why the Black Stars are struggling under C.K. Akuno, and he's also been prescribing some solutions, especially for the football fans. He thinks that C.K. Akuno should be given more time. Well, he had an earlier conversation with Joy Sports' Charles Macarius. Let's take a listen to it.
So many factors. But I believe we have a technical team that they have some few weeks now to go back to the drawing board, sit down, and then make sure that whatever that they saw, they will fix it, because we've played 2 games back to back, and against Ethiopia and South Africa, which we all know the performance wasn't that good. But I still believe, I still have belief in the technical team, and I know whatever the problem is, they will fix it. Cohesion wasn't there, and I think we after the Ethiopia match, we lost about 5-6 players, and you have just few days to train, few days to get them in the rest in shape for another very important match, which we all know was a very difficult match, and so. Time wasn't on their side. Time wasn't on their side to implement how you want to play. So I will not blame anybody. I think the calendar is so congested, but we have to. Like I keep saying, I said it's time. We don't have to think too much about the performance. We have to think about the results. Unfortunately, we didn't get results against South Africa, but we still have another 2 games to play, and if we're able to get 6 points out of 2 matches, definitely we'll be good to go. Score goals. We have to work on. We have to. The back is solid. The midfield is better. I think. The final third, how we have to, the cohesion and the movement, and to put the ball at the back of the net. You know, when you are able to score 1, 2, 3, it opens the game. It's difficult when you're always chasing the game and a goal is not coming, and the tempo is rising, and it's always difficult. But I know against Zimbabwe here is going to be a different pressure. Pressure is on the team, not on CK alone. The pressure is on the team. Each player needs to wear his A jacket and make sure that if chance is given to him, he has to improve. Like he said yesterday after the game, some of them didn't come to the party. Some of the players played below average, which that shouldn't happen when it comes to the national team. I know it's a sign of it's a warning from the coach and the players who take it very, very serious. And against Zimbabwe, the team, whoever is given the opportunity, will have to improve. No, sacking is too early. It's just 2 games. He has already qualified us to the World Cup, to the AFCON, and we just played 2 matches in. So why do we have to push the panic button? No, we have to take it easy. I know how everybody is feeling. That you sack him now, you bring another coach, and you don't qualify. He will tell you his time is very short, and that you need to give him time. If he doesn't qualify, are you going to sack that one too? Then we'll end up sacking. Let's give him the support. Let's give him the benefit of that. We know he can do it. We have to believe in him. Sometimes when the bashing is too much, the person gets confused. Let's give him the backing, and with a good backing and a good support from all of us. In these 2 matches against Zimbabwe, let's go 100% on support on him, and I know he will deliver. We are yet to see, like I said earlier, you can't take 4 or 5 days to have a signature. It takes time. And when I know CK can deliver is when the team is preparing for a tournament. And first to qualify for the tournament, then you build a team. Then you can have the cohesion, whatever that you want to implement, the system, how you want the team. You play it in the friendly matches. Then you can deliver. But coming for 3-4 days, and then after playing a game, you lose about 4 or 5 players for the next game. It's always difficult. You can't blame CK entirely for what is going on. But I know this is just the second game. When you look at it, you win your home and you lose away. Doesn't mean it's the end. Still have more games to go. Support him, and I know he will deliver. Yeah, he was given the opportunity. I think he did well. He did well. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I think this is his first time and playing away. Even though he's well experienced, but when it comes to Blaster, it's a different ball game altogether. But I know if given the opportunity in the next game, he will improve on what he did against South Africa. That is the problem. The striking is the one to put the ball at the back of the net is what we are all looking for, and it's becoming headache. But we have to find one. We have to find one before we go in for a tournament. At the moment, he is the only consistent goalkeeper we have, and it's not about the goalkeepers in goalkeepers level. When they are aging is when they get better. Ofori, I can't remember the last time we lost under Ofori. He's one of our best. We shouldn't be pushing. If we don't take it, we have to change the entire team. We should keep on supporting. He did well against Ethiopia here. It happens. Even the Schmeichels and the rest, in a game they make some silly mistakes sometimes, but that doesn't mean they are bad. Furi is one of our is the best so far we have, and we don't have to panic about his performance against South Africa. Sometimes when you are playing in the country that you used to, that you playing professional career, you want to do more than you are doing. Like you said, Paris is one of the best in South Africa, and the pressure there is very, very high. They want to win the league. They want to do better in Champions League. I think this is his first season there. I know he can do better. Injuries. He's just returning from injury, and all he needs to do is be injury-free, and we can get the best out of him again.
Well, Coach Yao Preku there, and we're going to bring you this conversation again in our subsequent bulletins. That's it for sport for now. There's more later on when we bring you the sports bulletins on JoyNews Prime later today. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport. Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
And that's how we wrap up this afternoon on The Pulse. So for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You get updates of all the developing stories. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2 hours stay with you. Up next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Hello, you're welcome to Let's Talk Showbiz here on the Joy News channel. My name is Doreen Avio. A lot has been happening in Ghana when you talk of showbiz, and well, today I'm here to share some of these exciting stuff here on the show with you. Today we're going to be talking about South African artist Caesar, who happens to be the son of Mafiki Zolo, and then also, you know, determinants of music in the industry, the good ones, the bad ones, and perhaps the exciting ones here on the show. My name is Doreen Avio once again, and this is Let's Talk Showbiz. If you're just joining us, this is Let's Talk Showbiz. My name is Doreen Avio, and have you noticed something? Gradually, really gradually, Ghana has become a home for a lot of African artists. When they release their songs and their works, they love to bring it to Ghana. Perhaps maybe when we endorse it, then it becomes #1. Well, South African artist by name Caesar was in Ghana. He happens to be the son of Mafiki Zolo, and you know, he also came to promote his album in Ghana. And my colleague Noella happened to be at the album listening. She caught up with him, and you know, a few questions came up, but we also wanted to know how Ghanaian music was doing in South Africa. He mentioned the likes of Jackie, Black Sheriff, Sarkodie and the like, but looks like the young man has interest in working with Black Sheriff. Let's hear more in this interview with Noella.
Man, beautiful album, you know, fusion of Afro beats, Amapiano, you know, got beautiful music, man. DJ Maurice is on the album, Major League's on the album. So yeah, man, it's international music, African music, anyone can jam to it. Yeah, man, it's for the fine girls and the bad guys, you feel me? Yeah.
Right, so I see, how many songs are on this album?
There's like 5 songs on the album, you know, very mature, easy, you know, you can party to it, you can relax, you can be in your feelings to it, so yeah.
So you're purposely here to promote this album?
Sorry?
You're purposely here to promote this album?
Yeah, I'm promoting the album, I'm here to collaborate, I'm here to feel the vibes, you know, I want to be one of Ghanaians, you know, I want to be one of y'all, so yeah, man, I'm here to promote and push the music, yeah.
Right. And how has the reception in Ghana been so far?
I mean, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I've been to a few radio stations. The love is amazing. I'm actually going to go perform tonight at the show. So, you know, club appearances and yeah, man. Yeah.
So a little birdie told me that you're a big fan of musician Black Sheriff.
Yeah, man, the guy is a bad guy. I like his music, man. I love young people, you know, who are killing it in the game, you know, so I relate to him. So, yeah, man, shout out to Black Sheriff. Maybe you should look out for something between me and him, yeah.
Yeah, we should look out, or maybe we should look out.
Maybe.
And how about Jackie? You mentioned Jackie as well.
Yeah, I love her music, man. I don't know about Jackie. Jackie, hit me up. I should hit you up, you know, maybe we should work, but yeah, man, I love her music, you know, super amazing artist, you know, yeah.
What do you think of our music scene here in Ghana?
It's really nice, man. Like the artists I've mentioned to you, man. I really love them. I'm still trying to understand the genre from Ghana and understand the music more. But yeah, man, I definitely love the music scene this side. Yeah.
And apart from Black Sheriff, you mentioned Sarkodie as one of the musicians that have penetrated.
Yeah, I was with him actually 2 days ago.
Who? Sarkodie?
Yeah, we were at Elements, you know, dope guy, man. You know, also maybe might do something with him, who knows, you know. Yeah, there's Sarkodie, there's Black Sheriff, Jackie. There's another rapper who's super good. The guy who did the collab with Stormzy.
Y'all talk.
Super dope people, you know, super dope people. So, you know.
How really do you get to know these people? I mean, is it that your sound is big in South Africa, or I mean, you find out about them through the power of social media?
Yeah, it's social media, and before I got here, I wanted to understand the people, the sounds, you know, because I've always loved Ghana. So I was like, yo, let me understand the mindset of people and what's actually happening, you know, and that, well, Gaiki is kind of big back home, you know, the Forever song is amazing and big, so yeah, man, that's the vibe.
I mean, did you get to know Yao Talk because of his music or because of his collaboration with Stormzy?
Okay, it started with the collab with Stormzy, then I got into know the music and I was like, yo, the guy is, you know, is dope. So yeah, shout out to him, man.
Right. So I mean, going forward, have you released this album?
Yeah, I've already released the album. It's out right now. It's been 2 months. The video for Bang Notification featuring DJ Maprius is over 2 million views in 1 month. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, man, I'm dropping another music video. Carolina featuring Major League, big. You know, I'm a piano to the world. So yeah, man.
Caesar, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much. You look gorgeous too.
Thank you.
Right, so that was Caesar in that conversation with my colleague Noella Karen Yali. And away from that, there's this conversation that has been going on, and I'm sure this conversation can continue in your homes or in your offices, wherever you are. Now, we are asking what determines a good song. It was a conversation that happened over the weekend on Showbiz A to Z. Different opinions from great entertainment pundits on the show, the likes of Sadiq, CEO of 3 Music Awards, Uncle Ken, Zap Mallet, Kiki Banson, and it looks like they all had different opinions. I mean, you know, some saying that social media has made it easy for, you know, certain musicians to produce all sort of songs. And one way or the other, I kind of agree with that. Not fully, but it's an opinion. So let's just hear from these great minds who spoke on the show last Saturday.
Can be, to a large extent, relative. You understand what I'm saying? So, because, I mean, yes, awards do reward popularity. But then again, you realize that going back to the times, there are certain times that something becomes the narrative. Like I said today, a major part of determining what a good song is audience appreciation, which, aka popularity, and how outstanding it is relative to how it's appreciated by the public. Are you saying what a good song or what a popular song? No, I'm saying that today. You know, when we started asking, but trying to analyze what a good song is.
Gentlemen, hold the thought 1 minute. Hold the thought. I need to sign out.
What is happening? Social media is pushing us. Gradually, we are there. Whether I like it or not, that's what's happening. Because like we were just discussing, somebody just puts something together and then puts a beat over it, and then all of a sudden it's feverish. It's all over the place. So,
wow.
But you see, the thing is, having said that, George, there are people who are still writing songs with depth.
Oh yes.
Seriously, there are people who. You see, I'm looking at the fact that the thing is like a radar. Like I was saying, back then in our days, people were also doing crap songs. But you see, the radar was not on them. The spotlight couldn't focus on them because at that time we had a society that probably the society had, because we didn't have social media and all those things back then. So the focus and the attention, the radar could be highlighted on good songs and good music. But right now, since we have the internet, it's so open. You see,
let me go to Kiki. I'll come back to
George. There's good music in Ghana, and there's bad music as well, all over the world.
Okay.
In every part of the world, there's good and there's bad music.
So, what, in your opinion, constitutes good music and bad music?
Okay. Now, I was brought up to know the structure of a song. I was brought up to believe that a good song should have an intro, should have a verse, should have a chorus, should include some solos, and then a bridge as well, concluding with an outro. That's how I was brought up. Now, when I speak of that sort of structure, you must realize that I'm referring to music that
is composed by musicians.
Yeah.
Not the music that is done by today's technology. Yes.
Doesn't make it sense. It could be a popular piece of music.
Like one corner.
So, song will forever remain technical. The definition and analysis of it. But today, there's a lot of music that is happening. That the music scene has changed, and I respect that. And it will change again and again and again and again. But it still will not and cannot redefine what music is and what song is.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, based on this argument, where would you place Patapa's One Corner, Kiki?
East Atlantic.
It's a viral song.
Yeah, viral song. Most viral
It's a viral song. It's a viral song. It's
George, I made the point.
It's a viral song.
Popular
piece of work.
Work. Very popular piece of work.
Because
to me,
it is not.
It is not a song.
Yes,
look, you know something. Talking about this lyrics thing.
I will not define that work as song. I will define it as the popular piece of music.
Piece of music. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Right, so those were the opinions. I'm sure you have a different opinion. You might have a different opinion on that. But it's still the music industry. We are hoping that our musicians will churn out great music and always make Ghana proud. My name is Doreen Avio. This has been Let's Talk Showbiz. A very big thank you to you, Beverly Ike and Albert. We are back same time here on the Joy News channel. But you can also log on to myjoyonline.com, the entertainment page, for more of our stories, and also go on Joy Entertainment on all our social media handles and get to see what's going on, and perhaps you can also drop a comment there, one or two of them. My name is Doreen Avio. Have a great evening.